Hello friends, welcome to Testing Talks Latest. Today I am going to explain how to handle iFrames in Selenium. To handle iFrames, we need to switch to the frame content and handle the elements. Once we handle the elements, we can switch back to the main page using driver.switch to default content. I am going to demo the code for handling this using the demo website automationtesting.in. So let me create a class for handling frames and show the demo in this video. Subscribe my channel for the latest interview questions and tutorials. I'm going to create a class handle frames and using attest annotation I'm going to run a method handle frame with the return type as void. Let me import attest annotation for execution, and I'm going to create a webdriver with name as driver and assign null for this driver. Once assigned to null, I'm going to import webdriver and initializing driver as new Chrome driver. I'm using 4.3 for this execution so that I need not to use system.set property. Let me import Chrome driver and we need to navigate to the URL for handling the content of iFrame, so that will provide the URL of the website where frames is available. Let me see the code for the frames. This is actually known as iFrames. Let me see the code for the iFrame. This code will be starting with the tag iFrame, which will have the source. This is the HTML file which will display in the main page. So to handle iFrame, we need to use driver.switch to frame, and we have to provide the frame index or ID or web element which identify the frame. So here either we can specify index by identify each index value for the frame, or we can take the ID, but there is no ID for the frame, so and there is no name on ID is there, so single frame is there, so we can use name of the single frame, or we can also use web element by specifying XPath with the source and attribute value single frame.html. So there is different possibilities such as ID name or source or index to identify the iFrame. Once we identify the iFrame, we can switch to the frame and then identify any of the elements from the frame, so that now we see that there is input element with the type text available, so that I'm going to create a web element with XPath to identify input with type text, and I'm going to give driver dot find element by XPath with input type text, input at type equal to type is the attribute, so that I specified at type text. This will identify the input box in the iFrame. So let me close this element with semicolon and import. import the web element. So I am passing the value using send keys for this element from iframe, and I'm passing the text as input value. Once we have identified the element, we can switch back to main page using driver dot switch to default content. This will be useful to switch to the main content. In any case, if we don't give driver dot switch to frame, it will be throw exception such as no such element. So let me find that kind of exception will be thrown or not in this tutorial. So that I am going to catch exception using try catch and printing the exception message whenever we don't give driver dot switch to. We'll try that also. So for that, catching the exception, I am using system.out println and get message to print the message. Let we run our test and see the result. Right click and run as test execute. Test start running. Chrome browser is open and it is input the value, and let we see test execution. It is passed. Let we also try handle frames without switching to the frame and see the result, whether exception will be thrown or not. Right click, run as test execute. We can even enhance this test by closing the driver. I am providing the main content about how it is handling the frames. As we see, no such element has been thrown, unable to locate element, and it also does not input the value. This is the way we can handle the frames, and by switching the default content, we can handle the main page content again. This is the way we can handle main page and frames in Selenium. Subscribe my channel for the latest interview questions and tutorials. Thanks.